Pleasant day, fellow educators. I'm Darius Regis. I am an Apple teacher, a certified Classcraft educator, and a grade school science teacher from De La Salle Sobel. Let me begin this session by these questions pertaining to the most common challenge teachers have in the learning process, especially under remote learning. Why do some students study so hard while others don't? Why are there students who don't do and submit their assignments on time? Why are there students who seem to be indolent in attending class? It may not surprise you to know that one of the challenges that we face in remote learning is students' engagement and motivation. A student's failure to accomplish the assigned task despite constant appeal or follow-ups adds to the accumulation of stress in our daily grind. As teachers, we need to be concerned with why some students expend a great deal of effort in accomplishing tasks and others do not. Research has proven that there is a significant relationship between students' engagement and academic performance. It has also been found out that the factors that most contributed to students' engagement and achievement were motivation and quality of instruction. My dear fellow educators, join me in exploring gamification, a strategy that promotes high quality instruction and a students' high level of engagement and motivation. To help us achieve our goal, we'll be guided by the following questions. First, what is gamification? Second, what are the educational apps or platforms that can be used in gamifying instruction? And third, how can education be gamified, particularly science education? Engagement and motivation. This problem is not new to us. Engagement is a degree of attention, curiosity, interest, optimism, and passion that the students show when they are learning or being taught. Motivation refers to the causes and reasons of the behavior. It explains why students engage in some tasks but not in others. A student's low level of engagement and motivation, caused by shortage of positive reinforcements, leads to their poor engagement and academic performance. As facilitators of learning, we have to find the solution by searching for or revisiting best teaching practices and strategies, plan, design, and deliver instruction, and evaluate its effect on students' engagement and performance. Among possible solutions, gamification captured my interest because, aside from game elements that promote positive behaviors, it also intensifies the use of differentiated instruction, which creates activities and assessments flexible for different learning styles. In my class, I use Flipgrid or iMovie for performance-based learning or Google Forms for written assessment, providing my students options how to assess their performance. Gamification also promotes personalized learning, allowing my students to become self-directed and learn at their own pace. Part of the process is the use of various formative assessment materials found in their ebook and Google Forms that give immediate feedback, allowing the students to find what they need to improve, change, or edit, which guide them in formulating their learning goals and their personal pathways that they prefer to take in achieving their goals. Before we continue, let me ask you this question. Have you used or participated in gamification before? Have you tried gamification before? If your answer is yes, kindly type number 1 in our chat box. And if your answer is no, kindly type number 2. Alright. For those who thought that they have not used or participated in gamification yet, it may surprise you to know that you have actually been participating in gamification ever since you started taking the rewards programs in credit cards or the loyalty programs in food and beverages services like the Starbucks, McDonald's, and Heineken. Gamification was first used by business companies to boost engagement and sale, and was eventually explored for the gamification of education with the assumption that the game elements would also promote an effective motivation to improve students' engagement and academic performance. So, without further ado, let's dive into gamification. What is gamification? Professor Kalkap defines gamification as a process of using game elements to engage people, motivate action, promote learning, and solve problems. Vollmar considered that the real power of gamification is its ability to produce desirable behavior or behavioral change, referring to learning. It rewards the effort and positive behavior like being respectful, helpful, responsive, perseverant, and determined, not the act of winning. It allows the students to apply collaborative skills such as setting of goals, using encouraging words, staying on task, taking turns, finishing the task on time that receives points, badges, and other positive reinforcement. As Karl Kapp said, gamification engages people, motivates action, promotes learning, and solves problems using the following. First, game mechanics referring to the setting of rules that will guide the students how to play the game. Second is aesthetics relate to the way a game looks, sounds, and presents itself to the player. It refers to the fundamental appeal of games to engage students. The use of colorful settings and animated characters or avatars, interactions, and movements make the presentation highly appealing to the students that drive them to willingly participate. The third one is game thinking. Game thinking is the art, skill, or the expertise, especially of the teachers, of pulling or hooking the students to continuously play, accomplish the given task that leads to mastery. It is the ability to make learning fun and exciting, interesting, challenging, and gratifying. Cap also mentioned for us to stop thinking like instructional designer, but instead we start thinking like a game designer. What does Carl Cap mean when he said start thinking like a game designer? For me, it means for us educators to use game thinking, game elements, and educational apps or platforms to create engaging instruction. Some of the activities that I use and made my students to fall in love with cognition and solving problems include Jeopardy game, Digital Escape Challenge, Classroom Olympics, and Amazing Race. Maybe you are thinking that these activities are simply game-based activities or games. You're right, but by applying game elements such as giving up equivalent points, badges to promote positive behavior, using leaderboard, appealing role or character or avatars and settings, using a story mode, challenging tasks with advancing levels of difficulties, and giving feedback, these activities have been gamified. After knowing what gamification is, let us now identify the apps or educational platforms that can be used in gamification. So we're going to answer the second question. What are the educational apps or platforms that can be used in gamifying instruction? I know that you're familiar with these apps or platforms. Copious apps and educational platforms are now easily accessible for free. These include Mentimeter, Peer Deck, Jamboard for answering essential questions, Kahoot and quizzes for review and assessment, Google Forms for digital escape challenge, formative and summative assessments, Flipgrid for performance-based assessment, Edpuzzle and YouTube for gathering of information, and Google Classroom for a well-organized posting of tasks and submission of output. These can all be put together and gamified using my favorite learning platform called Classcraft. What is Classcraft? According to Sean Young, CEO and co-founder of Classcraft, it is a culturally relevant toolbox with game-like elements. Culturally relevant in teaching refers to the culture of positive behavior like finishing the task on time, taking turns, helping others, and being respectful that the students would develop or enhance together, fueling their desire intrinsically as they get positive reinforcement in the form of XP or experience points, gold pieces, badges, or even certificate from the teachers while playing Classcraft or after playing Classcraft. With the use of Classcraft, education can easily be gamified. So let's answer the third question. How can education be gamified? Before going to the how, let me first mention the why. Why use Classcraft? Classcraft empowers students. It fosters significant relationships by reinforcing teamwork and collaboration, applies personalized and differentiated learning, and it is fun. So let's get started by creating your Classcraft account. All you have to have is your Gmail account for you to create a class. Then you will be asked to review behavior, powers, and pledges, which I will explain to you later, and add students manually or from Google Classroom. First, you search for Classcraft by typing it in the search bar. Once you find it, press Login to sign up and create a Classcraft account. In the Login menu, you have the option to sign in by pressing the Google button, ClassLink, by or log in by typing your Gmail account registered in Classcraft. If you don't have a Classcraft account yet, simply press the Sign Up button. Then create a free account for a teacher by tapping I'm a teacher. Later on, once you have sent the invitations and their assigned codes, your students have to create their accounts for students. For this demonstration, let me use a hypothetical account under the name of Mr. Regis. After successfully signing up, you will be directed to your dashboard. From here, you may start creating your class by tapping the Create a Class button. Now you may begin creating your class by typing in your class name. For this class, let me use 5A Archangels. Mr. Regis is handling grade 5 and 6 levels, so I click on Elementary. Now that the information are complete, press Next. Next is the setting of class type that fits for your class. Which type of class should you create? If you want to implement positive social distancing strategies and remind students to follow proper cleaning guidelines, you should pick social distancing type of class. If you want to foster the skills needed to tackle the unique challenges of remote learning, choose remote learning class. If you want to help your students to develop social and emotional learning skills through settings based on CASEL or CASEL's guidelines, choose castle. Now, since we are in the midst of pandemic and this situation is new to basic education, I choose remote learning for Mr. Regis' class. After choosing the type of learning, type in the name of the school where you are connected. In this example, I am typing Abra de Ilog Central School where Mr. Regis is connected. As you can see, the other schools in the Philippines that are also using Classcraft are in the list, as well as other schools coming from other countries. After accomplishing the initial requirements, upon pressing next, you will be brought back to the main menu where you can see your class or classes. The three dots on the right side of each class contain the links to important information that you need in managing your class, like the class settings, edit general information if you want to edit, introducer if you want to distribute the codes, the rules and the rules summary, and the rules customizer. To continue the steps in creating the 5A Archangels class, you have to review the default positive and negative behaviors and powers before adding or assigning students. Here is the list of the default positive behaviors with a given equivalent experience points or XP. Later on, after you start playing, you can edit the positive behaviors you may add and experience points according to your need. But I suggest for you to use the default positive behaviors first until you become familiar with the flow of the program. Next is a review of the default negative behaviors, such as giving up when faced with technical problem and being off task. Each has equivalent health point deduction, which discourages them to do negative behavior. Health points serve as a student's character or avatar's energy needed for them to stay active in the game. If a student runs out of health points or HP and can't be held or and cannot be healed or helped by their teammates, they fall. When this happens, they receive a random pledge or consequence that they must fulfill, such as writing a kudos or encouraging words to a classmate, creating poster to inspire the class, or creating a short video on how to make better decisions. Now let's review the powers. Taken from Spider-Man movie, with great power comes great responsibility. So the students have to understand the purpose of choosing a character with its corresponding powers. Failure to understand it will lead to more damage not only to himself but also to the team. With enough action points and health points, the students can practice their powers to protect and save each other. Now here's the list of the healer's powers. Lastly, the mage's powers. After reviewing the default behaviors and powers, you are now allowed to assign or add students. Add the students by simply tapping the plus button, then add them either manually or through Google Classroom if your class has it. For Mr. I's class, I'm going to add the students manually. Adding students is easy. All you have to do is to type in their names one by one. In this hypothetical account, I added 10 students. After typing their names, tap the Create button to continue setting up your class. You can easily form several teams by tapping the Add a Team button. Here, I divided my class into two teams. Drag and drop the names of your student to the team they belong. After assigning all the students to their teams, excuse me, tap the Done button. Look at the teams. The teams Kabrad and Wawarrior have been created in this example. The teacher, I, was the one who gave the names and crests for both teams. The student can edit them, can change them the moment they start playing. Now everything is ready. Click Continue to go back to the main menu. You are now ready to present Classcraft to your students. On the main menu, press Play to introduce Classcraft to 5A Archangels class. Here is your class game dashboard, complete with navigation or command buttons. And now press the Begin Student Introducer to present Classcraft to your class. From this menu, you can download the game mechanics, including the rules summary, team sheets, hero pack or oath, and a student's code which they need later to join your class. Next is the Classcraft introduction or background video that shows Classcraft's short history, orientation on Classcraft various features, and tips how to successfully use it. Here are the two types of points found in Classcraft. So we have experience points or XP and health points or HP. Are you ready to choose your character or avatar? Choosing the character or avatar is one of the most exciting parts of the preparation. The students are allowed to pick characters or avatars that fit them. Make sure that the students understand the powers that these characters possess before allowing them to choose. Let us find out why. HP is like the energy that the student should maintain to continue playing. Every negative behavior that a student shows or does has an equivalent HP deduction. If the student is still beginning or developing in terms of behavior and performance, there is a bigger possibility for him to have frequent deduction, if not prevented. The guardians have the highest HP and the lowest AP. So, developing students are suggested to take guardians for their avatars or characters. The healers have the average number of HP and AP. Students who are at the level of approaching proficiency are suggested to take the healers. The mages have the lowest HP and highest AP. Students who have proficient or excellent behavior and performance should take mages. Present the group setting where they belong to excite them more. Here is for Kabrad team versus Wawarrior. Now let's get it on. You may now allow your students to sign up using their individual student codes. Let me show you the game dashboard after Wenty Grace has been able to sign up and join 5A Archangels class. Isn't it beautiful and exciting? Upon signing up, the student immediately received XP and gold pieces. The student's dashboard shows the status of the students including her available HP and AP, XP, and GP, meaning health points, action points, experience points, and gold pieces. It is also showing her power, psionic aura, which allows her to help her teammates to gain 7 AP if needed. There are many features in Classcraft that you can use to achieve the competencies or goals. And one of the favorites, or my favorites, is the quest. Quests turn your lesson into personalized, self-paced adventures by allowing the students to set their goals and create their paths of learning according to their needs. The story mode arouses the imagination of the students and transforms the learning process into compelling adventures with twists and turns. To start creating your quest, tap the quest button on the left side. That will bring you to these maps or islands, and then click the plus button on top to continue. To create a quest, the first step is to tap a map, then create a name for your quest. So let me tap the island or the map, and then create a name for your quest. I suggest for you to choose a very catchy name to hook the students. For example, I use Battle of Earth as my quest name. The students are familiar with this name because I have taken this from a video game. After creating a name for your quest, select a map. Quest has a bank of very attractive maps where you can select from. So let me pick this one. Next, the option to share the quest to other classes that you handle. But let me skip this because I'm not done yet with my quest. Going back to quest map, click anywhere on the map to choose your starting point or place. Again, just click a place where to begin. Next, tap the introduction button to make your quest introduction. Let's begin the story. Teachers are encouraged to create a story to motivate the students and fuel their imagination. Classcraft has a story mode that offers pre-written stories which you can copy and modify. That is how teachers-friendly Classcraft is. For this quest, I took inspiration from the Avengers movie. So I made a simple story inspired by Avengers. Excuse me. Then I insert a link of Jamboard which I prepared for their answers to the essential question. Then I attach a picture of Thanos to make the introduction more appealing. Look, this is how my introduction looks like. Notice the link to the essential question above the picture. Once you click it, you will be linked to the Jamboard where the students can type and post their answers. Let's try it. There you go. So here's the Jamboard that I made for my students. I provided each of them a box with his or her class number to make it more organized. Next, click the plus button again to make the first objective or next level. So after the introduction, you go up the level, do the first objective. So how is it done? Let's continue. Click the map to place your first objective. anywhere you want. Then enter an objective name. Then press the task button below. For this objective, I choose ignis for its name, a Latin word where the word igneous came from. Igneous rock is our first lesson in rock formation. Next, type in your story for your first objective. Notice that the story also includes the competencies. This is very important. Then give clear instruction to the student on what to do to accomplish the task. Don't forget to insert the link of the task on top so that they can easily see it. Next, insert a picture to make the presentation more appealing. Here is how it looks like after adding all the content. It has a very nice picture, clear instruction, and the activity link. Reinforce positive behavior by giving experience points, which will automatically be added to their score once they accomplish the task. So it's easy for the teachers. You are now on the last set of objectives. Again, you will just be repeating same procedure to accomplish it. And here how it looks like. It contains the title, the story, the appealing pictures, and of course the link to the activity. Let's try it. So it's very important for you to make sure that the link is working. After reaching sets of objectives by accomplishing all the tasks, make sure to strongly end your student's journey with an inspiring story. Again, Classcraft has a bank of pre-written stories that you can use for your own quest and for free. And don't forget, celebrate your students' accomplishment and let them feel and realize that the sweetest victory comes after the hardest battle. Now your quest is ready. Press the access button, the green button on top, to share it to your class. Fellow educators, this is the way science and other subjects can be gamified. Let me end this session with a quotation from one of the founding fathers of the United States of America, Benjamin Franklin, and he said, I quote, by failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail, unquote. In this modern era, students could learn everything in the curriculum by staying at home and surfing the internet. Schools need to offer students experiences that they can't get at home. In 2013, the LaSalle Bell started to implement the use of mobile learning device as a teaching and learning tool. Despite strong objections, training of teachers and students, procurement of equipments, internet and web services continued as part of preparation and anticipation of learning environment in the future. Who would have thought that we would be doing remote learning 8 years after? And now Del Salsabel is spreading the culture of sharing by allowing her teachers and administrators to be involved in helping schools and teachers in need of assistance in the implementation of remote learning, particularly the use of tech tools and distance learning and teaching strategies. Indeed, never shall we fail, for Jesus lives in our hearts and in his progressive thoughts in our minds. With that, thank you, my dear educators. Let's gamify.